The Long Dark is a first-person exploration survival game. It takes place on an island somewhere in another part of Canada. You're a pilot who has crash-landed during a geomagnetic disaster. You have one goal, and that is to survive. There is no explanation given for the disaster. When the game starts, you find yourself on the ground with almost nothing but the clothes on your back. Created by Hinterland Studio, it was released as an early access game on Steam in 2014, thanks in part to a successful Kickstarter campaign. It would later become available for the Xbox One in 2015, and most recently for the PS4 during the launch of the long-awaited story mode, Winter Mute. The game can be very challenging. There are two game modes available, a story mode and a sandbox mode. Up until recently, the only game mode available was the sandbox mode. When you start a sandbox mode game, you are presented with options in regards to which map you want to be spawned, each varying in difficulty. Your objective is to survive as long as possible. You do this by scavenging the land and any uninhabited buildings or vehicles for resources like food, water, medicine, tools, and any items that you can craft with. Dangers that are present throughout the game are the harsh elements and the wildlife. Starvation, dehydration, hypothermia are health risks that you must avoid, along with any attacks from wolves or bears. I would recommend starting the game in story mode first. It starts the player off in tutorial-like fashion. You learn how to treat your wounds, forage for plants, build fires, and other skills. Completing those objectives help acclimate any new player into this cold, foreboding wilderness. It should be noted that in every sandbox game, all lootable items and wildlife are randomly spawned, so even if you choose to start another sandbox game on the exact same map, no two games are ever completely alike in terms of what resources you are able to find. As well, unlike the story mode, in the sandbox mode, if you die, you do not respawn. Your game is over. The Long Dark is perhaps one of the finest survival games. It is incredibly well detailed in every aspect. Just an example of how much detail is in the game, once you have harvested the hide from an animal, it isn't ready for use until it is cured, and the only way to do that is to let it air dry inside a shelter for a few days. It is only then that it can be used for crafting. In another example, once you have melted snow into water, you still need to boil it in order to safely drink it. Otherwise, you will get sick, which is the last thing you want to deal with given the predicament you are in. As well, you can only carry so much with you. At a certain point, once you go past a certain weight threshold, you lose your ability to sprint, which is incredibly useful when trying to get away from any hostile predators. Like in any realistic survival situation, what you are able to carry is very much a difficult balancing act that the player must figure out. Graphically, the game is very unique, taking on an almost impressionistic painting style in its design. The music is both minimal and haunting. The user interface is also very minimalistic. I purchased this game back in December of 2016 for the Xbox One, so I didn't experience what this game was like when it was originally released. But after going through some of the videos on the Hinterland Studio YouTube channel, it is pretty clear that they have been very diligent in continuing its development. Winter Mute was the long-awaited story mode. Currently, only episodes 1 and 2 are available, with another 3 more episodes to come. Up until the release of the story mode, you never had any real objective other than just to stay alive. Up until the story mode release, I found the game rock solid on the Xbox One. However, there were a couple of glitches that I found during the story mode gameplay during its initial release. The most common one being when entering a location, say a building. Instead of appearing inside the building, it just kicks you out of the game. Restarting the game does put you inside the building that you were trying to enter. However, when this happens multiple times in a row, I found it taking me out of the overall gameplay experience. Another issue that only happened once was a wolf that just simply vanished, as well the odd graphical glitch. Thankfully, Hinterland Studio has been quick to act in releasing updates to help solve these issues. Overall, The Long Dark has been one of the most interesting games I've ever played. As long-awaited as the story game mode has been, I still prefer the sandbox mode. It is there where you get to hone your skills and create your own story of survival. Now, one can argue that there can be a sense of monotony that can creep into the gameplay. You need to eat, drink, keep warm, find or make shelter, and sleep. then repeat again and again and again. But I mean, really, isn't that the whole point of survival? The Long Dark is brutally minimalist, yet well detailed in what it is trying to achieve. It does this void of any of the gimmicks that other survival games may rely on. It is a very unique gaming experience, and while it may not be for everyone, I still would highly recommend it. That concludes my review of The Long Dark. Good luck, and good gaming.